Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here. What I have tonight is a couple of tubular locks. The one on my left is very much the standard size. You find these on vending machines and on industrial control equipment, that kind of thing, control panels. And they've got normally 7 or 8 pins, and most often they have a cutout. And that cutout you can tension the lock with. Sometimes they've got a slightly snarky hex core, which makes life a little bit more difficult. I've got another video on that. But these ones are pretty much the standard fare. Now, in some applications, you can get very, very tiny ones. Often, the very tiny ones only have 4 pins. And the 4-pin versions are super, super easy to open. In fact, so easy. Tequila Dave did a video recently where he impressioned one using the end of a Bic pen, plastic Bic pen. This one's a bit more tricky. It's got the full complement of 7 pins. But that's not the real challenge to this lock. I'll come to that in a second. So tensioning these, you can use any number of different ways. The most common is something like a sparrow's goat. And this slots into that cutout, like so. Then the other side of it binds against the body of that center core and provides good tension. And it's not just the sparrows you can use. There's a multi-pick one. This one here, that works very well. You can home make them. So this is a homemade low profile one. This is another homemade long reach one. Or you can use something like the Covert Instruments. This is actually a very good tensioner, and I do have another video on that coming up, but that's a different story for a different day, so I'll come to that in a minute. This again works in the regular way, but what makes this good is it actually has a small side and a big side. Unfortunately, in the case of a tiny tubular lock over here, this one, the small side is actually still too big. So if we put this in here, still doesn't fit, still outside. This really is a very, very tiny core. So the challenge here is, how do you tension it if you can't use any of the commercial tools? Well, you've either got to make a full-size tensioner, which actually is a lot of work, especially to make it quite so small, or you can find another way. And actually, something I always keep in my kit are one of these, a humble bobby pin. And these are the business if you need to tension a small lock. So what you do, snap one side of it off, bend the end over to give you like a right angle, and that will actually just slot in that groove at the top there. You can rotate it down, hold it in place with your thumb, and then all you've got to do is pick the pins. So the bobby pin does a very handsome job of actually tensioning this lock. In this case, I can't use a regular probe. This really is a tiny, tiny channel, so I'm using the tip of my homemade katana pick, but any sharp piece of bent metal will get this job done. So I'm just going to quickly walk around these pins. It's a very talkative lock, this. It gives a lot away. So it shouldn't be too much of a chore to get it open. I've got a couple of bits of core movement already. In fact, the danger with this is you can actually over tension it. I think we're very close now. Bit more core movement at time. Is it going to go? Come on. Just getting on these pins is actually really quite difficult. They're so tiny. Yeah, there you go. So, fiddly, not hard, more difficult to tension. So that's that really. Hope you found that a little bit interesting, something slightly different. But next time you find one of these things, make sure you've got a bobby pin to hand. All right, that's it for this evening. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your picking. Cheers.